Pioneers, imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You check your phone. Pi just hit $314,000. You're a millionaire. Your hands are shaking. You open the app. You go to transfer your coins to sell just 10%. You press send, and then you see it. 3 words: pending manual review. Your wallet is frozen. You can't move anything. You refresh the app 5 times. Nothing changes. You check the forums. Hundreds of people posting the same thing. Wallets locked. No explanation. No timeline. Just waiting. Right now, today, Pi Network has what I call a kill switch. And I need you to understand something. I'm not saying the core team wants to hurt you. I'm not saying they're planning something evil. But right now, in this moment, the network is controlled by a small group of people. A small group decides who gets to validate transactions. A small group decides the rules everyone has to follow. A small group holds the master keys to everything. Hello again, Pi Network pioneers. I'm your host, Nathan. Before we dive deep into our video, let's greet and welcome my incredible pioneers from around the world. Whether you're watching from Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, United States, India, Pakistan, Philippines, Canada, Kenya, or anywhere else on this beautiful planet, I'm absolutely thrilled to share this incredible news with you today. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you're always in the loop with the latest Pi Network updates. And don't forget to drop a comment saying Pi Network to the moon along with your country and flag. Let's fill the comments with pioneer pride and show the world how powerful and united our global community really is. So, let's dive right in. Here's what keeps me up at night. If a government agency calls them tomorrow and says freeze every account in this country, they can do it with one command. If a regulator sends them a letter and says stop all transfers immediately, they have the power to obey. And here's the thing that most people don't understand about power, but I'm going to explain exactly why that matters in just a moment. Pi Day 2026 is coming in just over 2 months, and honestly, we don't need fancy new features. We don't need another partnership announcement. We need the core team to do the hardest thing any founder has ever done: give up control, hand the keys to the community, destroy the kill switch forever. Today I'm going to show you why decentralization isn't just some boring technical word that developers throw around. It's literally the only thing standing between you and complete financial freedom. And if Pi doesn't fix this by March 14th, the consequences could be devastating. But first, let me explain what's really happening behind the scenes. Let's be completely honest about why we started mining Pi in the first place. We're tired of banks. We're sick of asking permission to use our own money. We're done with someone in a suit telling us we can't send money to our cousin in another country. We're finished with frozen accounts and suspicious activity flags just because we made a purchase they didn't like. That's why cryptocurrency exists. That's the whole point: freedom from permission. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to talk about. Right now, today, Pi is still acting like a bank. To run a node, you need to be selected by someone. To participate in governance, you need access to app polls that not everyone can vote on. To get listed on a major exchange like Binance, we need the core team to approve it and say, okay, we're ready. This is permission, and permission creates risk that most people never think about. What happens if the core team gets sued tomorrow? What happens if their office gets raided? What happens if a key member gets threatened or compromised? If all the power sits in one place, all the risk sits there too. One weak point, one target, one failure brings everything down. Think about it like this. Imagine you have all your savings in one bank, not spread across different banks, not diversified, everything in one building. One manager controls access to the vault. That manager seems nice, seems trustworthy. But what if that manager gets arrested? What if that building catches fire? What if the government shows up with a warrant and locks the doors? That's centralized risk, and that's where Pi sits right now. We need the network to become permissionless. That means nobody can stop you, not the core team, even if they wanted to, not the government, even if they demanded it, Not the banks, even if they complained. Nobody. That's what Bitcoin has. Nobody controls Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared. There's no CEO to arrest, no headquarters to raid, no company to sue. The network just runs because thousands of independent people around the world choose to run it. And that's exactly what Pi must become on March 14th. But there's another reason this matters that affects your wallet directly, and it has to do with why Binance won't list us yet. You want to know the real reason Binance hasn't listed Pi yet? And I mean the actual legal reason, not the speculation. It has nothing to do with whether they like us. It has nothing to do with trading volume or community size. We have millions of users. We have demand. We have everything they normally look for. Here's what nobody's explaining clearly. They legally cannot list Pi while one organization controls the supply and the validators. Let me break down how financial regulators see this. If a company or a small group controls when new coins get created, controls who can validate transactions, and controls the rules of the network, regulators call that a security. It's legally treated like a stock in a company. And if it's a security, exchanges need completely different licenses to list it, licenses most crypto exchanges don't have and don't want. The SEC in America has been very clear about this. They've sued multiple projects. They've fined millions of dollars. The test is simple. Is there a central group that controls the asset? If yes, it's probably a security. If no, it's a commodity like gold or Bitcoin. Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, all the major exchanges, they have licenses to list commodities. They can list Bitcoin because nobody controls Bitcoin. They can list Ethereum because it's decentralized enough, but they cannot list something that looks like a centrally controlled security without risking massive legal problems. So every day that Pi remains centralized, we stay off the major exchanges. Every day the core team holds the master keys, we can't access the liquidity we need. Every day permission is required, institutional investors stay away. But the moment Pi becomes fully decentralized, the moment the community controls the nodes, the moment no single group can change the rules, the legal doors to Binance, Coinbase, and Kraken swing wide open. The institutional money can flow in. The trading volume explodes. If you want the listings, you need the decentralization first. They're not separate goals, they're the same goal. And this brings me to what we should be demanding on Pi Day. Because this isn't about being ungrateful or impatient. This is about holding the core team accountable to the original vision they sold us. But what I'm about to ask for might sound extreme to some people, so let me explain why each piece matters.
So what exactly should happen on March 14th, 2026? What does real decentralization actually look like? Because we can't just say we want decentralization and hope they figure it out. We need to be specific. We need clear demands. First demand, open the nodes to everyone. Right now, if you want to run a node, you need to be selected. There's a team that reviews applications. They decide if you're trustworthy. They decide if your setup is good enough. That needs to end. On Pi Day, anyone with the technical requirements should be able to run a validator node. No permission needed, no application process, no selection committee. You download the software, you stake your Pi as collateral, you start validating. Just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum. If you try to cheat, you lose your stake. If you validate honestly, you earn rewards. Simple, permissionless. Some people worry that this means bad actors could run nodes, but here's what they don't understand. Blockchain is designed to handle bad actors. That's the whole point. You don't need to trust anyone because the math keeps everyone honest. If someone tries to validate a fake transaction, the other nodes reject it automatically. The cheater loses money, the network stays secure. That's how this is supposed to work. Second demand, open the code completely. Let us see the smart contracts that control minting. Let us verify the supply ourselves. Let us audit the governance mechanisms. Right now, we're trusting the core team when they tell us the supply numbers. We're trusting them when they say the tokenomics are fair. But trust isn't good enough for a decentralized network. Don't trust, verify. That's the motto of cryptocurrency. We should be able to look at the blockchain ourselves and count every Pi that exists. We should be able to read the code and see exactly how new Pi gets created. We should be able to verify independently that everything is fair. And yes, the code is somewhat open now, but there are still closed pieces, still proprietary elements, still parts we can't fully audit. That needs to change. Third demand, kill the veto power. If the community votes yes on something, the core team cannot override it. Right now, even if 99% of pioneers vote for a change, the core team can say no, we're not implementing that. That's not decentralized governance, that's a suggestion box. Real governance means the community decides. The smart contracts execute whatever the community votes for. Nobody can stop it, nobody can veto it, not even the founders, especially not the founders. I know this sounds scary if you're on the core team. This is your baby. You built this from nothing. You spent years developing it. You're worried the community might make bad decisions. You're worried things might go wrong without your guidance. But Dr. Nicholas, if you're watching this, I need you to hear something. We are ready. We've been mining for 6 years. We've learned, we've grown, we've proven our commitment. The community isn't going to destroy what we've built together. We're going to protect it even more fiercely than you can because it's ours now too. Letting go is terrifying, but it's necessary, and it's the only way Pi becomes what it was always meant to be. But here's what happens if they don't make these changes, and this is the part that should worry every single pioneer. Let me paint you 2 different pictures, 2 different futures. One where Pi decentralizes on March 14th, one where it doesn't. Future 1. Pi Day 2026. The core team announces full decentralization. Nodes are open to everyone, the code is fully transparent, governance is truly in the community's hands. Within days, Binance announces listing. Coinbase follows. The price surges because now institutional investors can buy without legal risk. Projects start building on Pi because they know the foundation is solid. The network becomes unstoppable because there's no central point of failure. Future 2. Pi Day 2026. The core team announces new features, maybe a new partnership, maybe some technical improvements, but the centralization remains. Nodes are still selected, control is still concentrated. The community celebrates for a day, then realizes nothing fundamental changed. Binance doesn't list because the legal risk is still there. The price stagnates because smart money stays away. Other projects that are fully decentralized start pulling ahead. Pioneers start losing faith. Which future do you want? Here's what people don't understand. Centralization isn't just philosophically wrong, it's practically dangerous. Every day Pi remains centralized is another day we're vulnerable. Vulnerable to government pressure, vulnerable to legal attacks, vulnerable to internal problems. What happens if key members of the core team have a falling out? What if there's a disagreement on direction? In a centralized system, internal drama can destroy everything. But in a decentralized system, no single person or group can take down the network. The community continues regardless of what happens to any individual. What if regulations change suddenly? What if a new law passes that makes centralized cryptocurrencies illegal in major markets? It could happen faster than you think. We've seen countries ban things overnight. If Pi is centralized when those laws hit, we're done. But if Pi is decentralized, it's like trying to ban the internet. Good luck enforcing that. Some people say I'm being too aggressive, too demanding, that we should be patient and trust the process. But patience has limits. We've been patient for 6 years. We've mined every day, we've recruited our friends and family, we've built this community from nothing. We've done our part. Now it's time for the core team to do the hardest part. Give up control. Not because they're bad people, but because centralized control is incompatible with the vision they sold us. You can't have it both ways. You can't promise decentralization and keep the keys forever. And look, I understand their hesitation. I really do. Decentralization means they can't fix mistakes as easily. They can't roll back bad transactions. They can't stop scammers with one command. Control feels safer. Control feels responsible. But the truth is, we didn't mine for 6 years to trade one master for another. We didn't leave the banks just to join a different kind of bank. We mined to be free, actually free, not sort of free, not free with asterisks and conditions. March 14th, 2026 is our moment. This is when we find out if Pi is real or if it's just another corporate coin with good marketing. This is when we find out if the core team means what they've been saying all along. So, pioneers, don't settle for less than real decentralization. When Pi Day comes, look for one thing: Are they giving up power? Are they actually handing the keys to us? If they are, then Pi becomes unstoppable, truly unstoppable. If they aren't, then we keep pushing until they do. Because we didn't come this far to stop now. We didn't build this community to watch it stay controlled. We built it to be free. Smash the like button if you want the keys, subscribe if you believe in real decentralization. We won, and I'll see you tomorrow.